Good day, LML4807 student. Today we are going to provide you a feedback to your assignment 1. We are changing the way in which we provide feedback to students, as we think it would be easier and more convenient to you that we provide you with a video where we explain the feedback or in what we expected from you in your assignments. Now, assignment 1 tested your ability to read case law and extract important information from a case. Now, it is very important for us that you develop the skill to actually read a case and then be able to identify the issues and how the court resolved the specific issue. So for question 1, we tested a broad range of skills and we gave you 5 cases. We extracted paragraphs from those cases and then we asked you to mix and match where a specific paragraph came from in a case. Now, very important here, we wanted to test to see whether you are able to give us a paragraph number or a page number from where you got your answer from. Now, we'll elaborate a bit more on question 1 in the next slide. Then for your question 2, we told you that take one of these cases that we asked in question 1 and provide us with a complete case discussion. Make sure that in the exam also you follow the headings which we provide, which is usually the facts, the issue before the court, or we also refer to it as the legal questions, and then your decision. For a decision, we are not merely asking that or for you to tell us that the appeal was dismissed with cost. This is us asking you to explain how the court applied the specific law to the set of facts. That is also why it counts the larger part of your question. Now 1.1 related to the joint stock case. Now, what I want you to also be aware of when you give back your answers to us in this instance, that you either use your page number, if there's a specific page number provided, or you would have a paragraph number. Now, when we get to the Mensky case, I'm going to show you that that case actually did not have a dedicated paragraph number. Now, in this case, you'll see that in your answer that you would have received, I would have marked correctly that the answer came from either paragraph 31 or paragraph 33. You'll also see in this arrow I show you where you find the page number. So remember, when we talk about page numbers, it means the bundle number in the law reports. So this is volume 4 of this year, and it starts on page 287. So, do you agree with me that there is no way that you could have had an answer where it said find the answer on, for example, page 7 or page 8? You count from page 287 onwards and you use the referencing in the case itself. For Netbank Business Bestana, and also many of you chose to discuss this case, the answer could be found in paragraph 15, and you'll also see I make a reference to the page number where you can find the answer, which is page 196. Then for Mensky, and this is what I've mentioned earlier, you'll see in the Mensky case we did not have numbered paragraph. So you see, when we went or looked at Netbank Business Bestana, at the beginning of a paragraph there was a little number in square brackets. For the Mensky case, we did not have that. So what do you do now? Remember, in your question I said either give me the paragraph number or a page number. So in this instance, I would have then expected from you to give me a page number. Now, the Mensky one was a bit of a tricky one because some of you said you found the answer on 282. Now, if you go back in the case, you'll see that that is actually where the words or the clause in the contract is stated. It's not the interpretation of the court where you can actually find the answer from. So you have to read a bit deeper and between the lines to actually find the answer here. Go and look then at pages 298 and 299 and tell me if you agree that the answer can be found there. But in marking this question, I was very lenient. But when you gave me paragraph numbers, I would have added a comment telling you that there was no numbered paragraphs in this case. You should have used the page numbers. This is very rare in case law that you don't find the numbered paragraphs, but Mensky is an example and a tricky question at that, because we don't have numbered paragraphs in this specific case. So hopefully today I taught you something new. With Nissan versus Marnitz, again, most of you got this question correct, and you would have found the answer in paragraph 23, but I also would have awarded a mark if you told me the answer was on page 448. Then your last case, the F&B versus Rosenblum case, again, you would have looked to paragraph 23, and here you could have given me a page number reference as well. So you could have told me page 201, 200 or 200, and I would have also awarded a mark. So this would have been option A. Now, I'm not going to summarize all of the cases, because in the end, you know what happens if we provide you with a detailed case discussion. It goes out on the internet and we don't force you to actually read your case law. What I'd rather focus on is giving you the skill to be able to summarize a case, because that's in the end what you're going to have to do. Make sure you've actually read the case, not only summaries. Many of you would have received 0 for this part because I picked up that you copied from previous tutorial letters. Now, some general notes on how you would have discussed your case. If we give you headings, which you must follow, follow them. So we told you, discuss it under the headings of facts, the legal question, decision of the court. Now, in our question, we didn't ask for a critical comment. So if in the exam you get a question and we don't ask for a critical comment, do not provide one. You might be wasting time and then end up not finishing your examination paper. Now, in the facts, some things that I picked up would be that you would go into a detailed discussion of the facts and then leave out very important parts of the factual discussion which relate directly to the legal question. Let me give you an example. In Nedbank versus Pestana, a critical element was that you had to tell me that there was a reversal without the authority of the person or the account holder, and some of you left out this important part. The facts would usually be found in the first few paragraphs of your case, so it's not difficult to find. The key thing is just being able to summarize the correct amount of facts to get your marks, but then very important to make sure that you actually include the fact or facts which relate to your legal question or issue. This brings me to the next element. Now, we usually refer to a legal question, or we would have said the issue before the court. This is a general sentence, and it relates to what is the principle in law that the court needs to examine. So it's usually phrased in general terms. So in Nedbank versus Pestana, one of the issues that came through was the application of Uniform Rule 33. And one of the legal questions there would be whether a court would be allowed to look beyond the facts provided to the court in order to reach its conclusion. So see what I've did here. I didn't mention specifically any of the Pistanas or Netbank. I mentioned the principle in law generally. And that usually you can find in almost the very first sentence of the case. After the case information, there's a line that would, for example, refer to reversal of an electronic fund transfer. So that is literally your second or your third line in the case following the case information. This is also useful if you have to quickly find case law one day when you argue a case. So that's where you find your legal question, but obviously it would also be written in the case itself below. Then this decision of the court, as I already mentioned to you, is not telling me the appeal was dismissed with cost of due counsels, or the decision of the court or the ratio is actually telling me that this is the law, the court sets out the law, and this is how the court applied the law to the set of facts. That's the decision of the court. Now, the critical comment you can then provide, that's your own opinion. But remember, if you provide a critical comment, it is not, in my opinion, it was a fair decision. That's the general. You must actually bring in something unique of the interpretation of the law. So don't just, I sometimes say, use your gut feeling and tell me, no, this was unfair or unreasonable. Give me the law on why do you think the court correctly or incorrectly applied the legal principle. And this sometimes then relates to, would there be an avenue for law reform? And this is also when we prescribe some of your case law, we also prescribe some of the journal articles that you should read so that you can see what authors think and comment on in relation to a specific case. Now, you did well in your assignments mostly. I think those of you that did not perform as well might have been because I could see you copied from previous study material, and I would have made a note in the marking if I picked this up. Remember that merely using the control find function and then using synonyms to replace a word in an old discussion does not mean this is in your own words. This is simply finding, replacing words. So stay clear from this, please, for future reference, also for examination purposes. You are now preparing for your examination, so you might need to get a hold of us. So I provide our details on the screen. As mentioned, if you cannot get hold of us via our telephone lines, please send us an email, as we usually respond quite quickly to our emails, and we may not always be at our desks when you phone. We will soon provide you with the lecture slides for the answer for assignment 2. All of the best.